Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sandeep Aggarwal, founder and CEO at Droom. Hope all of you are keeping safe and healthy. This is actually our ninth e-commerce day. And we at Droom take a lot of passion in hosting this because this is one of the venue. It is our way of giving back to anyone who wants to carve out a career in new age economy. E-commerce came into being 27 years back and has created everlasting impact. And in my view, this is still very early days. If you look at one by one, each vertical, still e-commerce is in a very, very early age. Retail, as we know traditionally, has been around for more than 3,000 years. Even modern retailing, which is more than just mom and pop store, has also been around for almost 160 years. So e-commerce in its 27th year is really in a 9-inning game, perhaps in the second inning. So long way to go. And why we started this is, after spending 15 years in Silicon Valley, when I came to India in 2011 to start Shop Clues, it was a 35th entrant into Indian e-commerce, the first marketplace. And while India has many, many e-commerce companies, it was very, very early days. And I would meet a lot of young talent, someone who is graduating from one of the business school or engineering program, maybe has a job from, no offense, but from Tata Motors to Axis Bank, and would be very curious, what does it take to work in a new age economy? And during interviews, sometime I realized I was allocated 15 minutes for an interview, and that interview lasted for 1 hour. And I did not mind answering all the curious questions, but there would be a lot of curiosity among the candidates. So we thought, wouldn't it be great to share with everyone what is this new industry is all about, right? Of course, it has come a long way, and I'll cover that in a minute. But wouldn't it be great to share what is e-commerce all about, where it has come, where it is headed, how, to Shashank or Akansha's point, how you can play a role in it. I remember I was working with Microsoft, one of the, I would say one of the top technology company in last 4 decades, in their headquarters in Redmond, Washington. And a wise man told me that choose internet industry. It has come with a high tide. And if you are part of a growth industry, your career will go places. And that was 2004. And since then, I've been very, very proud of spending 7 or 8 years as a Wall Street analyst and founding 2 e-commerce companies in India. And would love to share through this venue all about, basically give you a tour of the sausage factory. We have hosted this with a lot of passion and pride in our campus. I remember in 2019, we had over 500 people who showed up in our campus, and we had a lot of networking session, knowledge sharing, product demos. We even ended up hiring many people who visited us, and there was a lot of party and celebration. Unfortunately, given we are in a pandemic, we could not do that, but we are very happy to still host it, this 9th edition, and the second one through virtual. So I will take a few minutes. I have 3-4 slides, but before that, I just to set the stage. When I came to India in about 2011, India had 80 million internet users. 2 million of those 80 million bought something online, but it was primarily an airline ticket or a book or some other smaller ticket items. 35 million of the 80 million internet users went to internet through mobile phone. There were probably half dozen venture capitalists who were hardly a venture capitalist, but more like a money lenders in disguise of a venture capitalist because of ecosystem at a very early stage. And a wrong decision means their entire fund or investment in India could be in danger. There were 2 dozen angel investors. And the value, economic value, the valuation created by the internet sector was probably $2 billion. This is 2011. Today, India has 800 million plus internet users. 250 million buy something online, and they buy home online. They take admission in university online. They buy car online. So this has come a long way. Next is there are probably 250 venture capital firms which are active in India. There are probably 500,000 angel investors, high net worth individuals, or family offices who would invest in various stages of the company. And almost every sector has new age companies coming up. And the value created by India's new age economy and e-commerce since 2011 until now is actually north of $150 billion, maybe almost touching 200 billion now. And we think the total number of internet users by 2025 will be north of 1.2 billion, and India could touch 800 billion to almost $1 trillion in new value creation by e-commerce. So the way one wise man told me in 2004 that be a part of internet and e-commerce industry and high tide has come and your career will never look back, I would absolutely encourage each one of you to be part of this great industry, right? You can see first time in Indian history where we did not see industrial revolution, we did not have Renaissance, we were part of a colony, and we missed out a lot of things which created modern economy. But now, new age economy, especially e-commerce, has created a lot of world-class companies, and all those companies have been created or founded by people who come from a typical middle-class family background, place a lot of emphasis on education, and dare to choose a new industry. And isn't it that is all of us here on this event today? So I hope you take a plunge. And one thing more, I would like to remind you that when there was a gold rush in California in 1850, 150,000 people across globe moved to California, and 7% of them found gold. But there was one thing common among everyone who found gold. They were in California. They were a mile away from the gold rush. Same way you are right now at prime time of your career in India, which is going through a digital revolution. And I hope you become part of this revolution, which in my view can make India a very prominent part of global economy in next 1 decade. And your career will go places if you manage to be part of new age industry and manage to survive, manage to learn, manage to grow, and manage to make impact. So with that, I hope all of you, we have lined up, a couple of panel for you, and you will have an opportunity to ask questions. As my colleagues mentioned earlier, you can type a question in the chat box, or you can, when we start the Q&A, you can actually raise your hand. That will result into us opening your line so that you can ask your question live. So with that, I'll just like to cover 2-3 topics which are very close to my heart, just to set the stage for e-commerce. And then I'm also joined by my colleague Akshay Singh, who is a Chief Strategy Officer of the company, for a couple of important topics. So number one, I want to say this thing, that e-commerce may be a sweet or dessert in USA. It may be the main course in China, but it is no less than 5-course meal in India. And there are many drivers, but 2 main drivers. One is, unlike industrialized countries, India has a very high cost of capital. That means every time you touch physical inventory or physical stores, you will have to source a lot of money, and that will be very expensive. Hence, physical retailing will never give you what a global consumer like you may be hoping, and what the global consumer in US or Western Europe or Japan or China may be getting. Second, India has very expensive real estate. Because of that, it is not easy to be viable in most of the retail businesses. Third, India does not have large format retail, modern retailing. Like it is very common in industrialized country, independent of cost, to have a 50,000 or 100,000 square feet retail outlet, maybe a visitor parking with 500 to 1,000 cars, and all the modern infrastructure. Independent of cost, that is simply not possible in this country because of India being a very old civilization and how our cities have grown over the centuries. So that is why, first of all, I would like to mention, I meet a lot of you who talk about, is e-commerce now maturing opportunity? Which category will do well? Which category will not do well? What I should be thinking about? Should I join this company? Should I start this company? And let me say this way, e-commerce is very early stage, and it is a 5-course meal in India versus main course in China or dessert in USA. So I hope you become part of this at Droom or somewhere else. But a high tide on this industry has come, and it will reward, and every boat will come, will go up. Make sure your boat is in the water. Can we go to the next slide, please? Second thing I just wanted to mention that, if you think about it, first e-commerce companies came into being were Amazon and eBay in 1994. Shortly after, e-commerce became public, and we had an email service called Hotmail. We had a first portal called AOL and Yahoo, and we had Amazon and eBay as the e-commerce company. So in the first phase, it was structured categories which got penetrated online because they were naturally suited, because it was having a big jump, convincing someone to buy an item without touching, feeling, smelling, holding, or asking a few questions and making payment upfront and waiting for 5-6 days. So some of the categories which got penetrated, so much has been discussed about them, but just wanted to highlight as a part of 3 phases: books, DVD, mobile phone, electronics, computer, travel. Some of these categories penetrated online very quickly because of the natural compatibility, how internet was evolving. So this was probably 1994 to 2004. We saw some of these categories becoming a major part of e-commerce. Then I would say from 2004 to 2014, unstructured categories. Unstructured means, every shirt I wear, every t-shirt I wear, right? They all are not very similar to iPhone 12 or a laptop from Dell. So these are the unstructured categories. So in the 2004 to 2014, we saw a massive proliferation of clothing, shoes, and accessories, health and beauty, jewelry and watches, gift, flower, furniture, health. And right now, we are in the 3rd phase of e-commerce. Droom is part of the 3rd phase. When I started Shop Clues, it was a part of, I would say, 2nd phase. But automobile, loans, dating, life partner, home loan, buying a home, college admission, luxury vacation package, house interior, all these are the categories where there are 8 or 9 things common. 1, they are high touch and feel category. 2nd, they are big ticket item. 3rd, the propensity to buy is low. 4th, human being is rarely driven by impulse for these categories. They are not a regular purchase, but a planned purchase. The price you can pay to go wrong is very high. You can lose your peace of mind. People would spend more time buying a 40,000 rupees old motorcycle rather than a 40,000 rupees laptop. Because of these characteristics, these categories are very big percentage of the GDP, yet very low penetrated online. And whether it is Ola or Uber, whether it is Zillow, whether it is Droom, you can see these categories are now proliferating online. And if you peel down the global GDP of roughly $80 trillion, you will find some of these categories actually very large percentage of the global GDP, but very low penetrate online, hence will create significantly high value. Just one or two more slides from me. So if you think about it, let's talk about retail, transportation, real estate, temporary housing. You can see here, and of course, we are bit patting our own back, but automobile, where we are very deeply invested, both capital but also more importantly in terms of hard blood and sweat, automobile, you can see how there are different phases within these vertical have happened. Now I'm not talking about just e-commerce 3 phases. I'm talking about 3 phases of 5 major verticals. And you can see, when Amazon was 10, 15 year old, it was trending in terms of market value around 180, 200 billion, and Walmart would be 400 billion, right? And nobody thought that Amazon would be actually bigger than that quickly. And 8, 9 years later, look at Amazon worth 1.6 trillion and Walmart at 400 billion. So you can see category by category how internet companies and e-commerce approach has created unproportionately higher value. Avis, a gold standard for car rental, could not create as much value as Uber, as a ride sharing. Look at Remax versus Zillow. Look at Marriott Hotel or Airbnb. So these are the examples, right? And this is a precursor to a very big long-term revolution called e-commerce. And that is what we want to share with you and help you understand this sector so that you can carve out your own niche. Just last point from my side. Here are a couple of industries: retail, advertising, automobile, real estate. You can see their total size of these industries independent of online or not, right? You have seen Amazon worth 1.6 trillion. You have seen Alibaba trending between 7 to 800 billion, right? But look at the size of retail industry. It is $23.4 trillion industry. So how can you say e-commerce is maturing? Only 1.2 trillion of this 23.4 trillion is online. Look at advertising. Companies like Google and Facebook dominate this category. Global advertising is at 800 billion. It is actually very nicely penetrated online, but still 46%, right? And between Google and Facebook, we are talking about almost 2.6 trillion dollar in new wealth, all in last 27 years, right? Look at automobile, less than 1% is online. Our category has created 80 billion in new wealth in last 2 years alone. And then in real estate, again, a $10 trillion industry, and less than 50 billion is online. So guys, the main point is e-commerce is among the most disruptive, innovative industries of modern world. It is almost like Industrial Revolution number 4. And I hope you become part of it. We are here at Droom, do our bit, and would happy to spend cycles with you. If you are in New Delhi, right now, social distancing and many other things of pandemic create challenge, but we would love to host you. If you want to do an internship with us, if you want to explore full-time career, if you're following an idea and want us to guide you, mentor you, we are happy to collaborate. And I hope all of you stay safe, but please stay in touch with us. And we are looking forward to seeing you on this side of the world.